¡Órale!
Sí, señor.
Bienvenidos and welcome to the Familia FFB podcast. It's our post Thursday night football edition.
Yeah, man.
¿Cómo estamos, baby?
Good, man. Just watched the game. Rams win. Nico's got a little parlay action going. Nico, the Mexican, Nico, my cousin, he's asking us for advice. So I told him I took Rams minus 2.5 for the parlay today. So he threw that in. I think there's a 4-legger, and that's the first one. So we're 1 for 1 so far. So sounds good. Sounds good so
uno
far.
uno por uno. I love it. I think, yeah. So I mean, and he's hilarious. Over the weekend, I was in Vegas, and so he texts me, and I'm like, dude, I'm in Vegas right now. Actually, it was when I was en route, and I get there, and it's just like, okay, I'm gonna give you, $30, 20 for me, 10 for you. I'll pick 16 parlay. You pick your 16 parlay, and let's do it. I think we both got 4 right. So, didn't feel too awful, but yeah, 4 out of 6 just still doesn't get the big payoff. But
Nope.
no, it was good times. It was good to have that money on. I did another 4-teamer after that, and went 1 for 4 on that. So ay Dios mío, only the Chiefs came through.
Yes. Yeah. Sports betting's not easy, man.
It's not easy. I don't know how people make a living out of it,
but seeing this stuff like 12 leg, hit the 8 leg, hit the what? Man, just hitting 1 leg is hard.
But I'll tell you, you know what? I had a phenomenal reunion with our alumni class of 1985. So wonderful time. Richard Blade joined us.
I saw that on your post. I think you throw it up on Facebook and stuff. That's pretty cool.
It was awesome. But I tell you, man, we hit it so hard on Saturday night that on Sunday I was just, because I wanted to be at the book at 10 o'clock for the beginning of the games, that I was just, I was so tired the whole day, just so tired. I didn't even play
a 1 o'clock games.
Yeah, I didn't even play a hand of blackjack. Did not even play a hand of blackjack the whole weekend. So
that's saying something, man. If you don't play blackjack,
exactly. That's never happened. That has never happened. I will say one thing, and I don't know what. I think this. I mean, definitely the tired part had something to do with it. But you know what? I'm fully pro wearing a mask. So I just want everybody to know that. But I didn't love the idea of wearing a mask and trapping all of the smoke on my right there in front of my nose.
Oh, the cigarette smoke.
All that cigarette smoke and everything. And I'm just like, you know what? Next time. I just found out over the weekend that the Park MGM Grand does not allow smoking. So I think I'm going back. I'm going there next time. I think
that's cool.
I think that may be. I may make that my place. Plus, I understand it used to be the Monte Carlo, which
it was the Monte Carlo. That's right.
And I've gone there. I've been there a couple times and had great times both times. So, and won money both times. So maybe it's the new place to be. So we'll see. Vamos a ver. But you know what? Maybe I didn't win, but the Dodgers, Los Dodgers.
I wear my Dodger blue today too. Woo, woo.
That was
unreal. I remember sitting on the couch watching the home run, and I think I yelled so loud that all the blood rushed to my face, and I think I just saw stars for a second. It was crazy, man. I was like, whoa, that was weird. That was pretty cool.
It was one of those ones. A friend of mine had just texted me, saying extra innings, and I texted back, okay, it's just one more batter left, so don't, let's not start saying that. And then he hit it, and it was just
once he hit it, man, you knew. Once that ball left the bat and the sound, you're like, dude, he hit that hard, man. That's not coming down. That is not coming down.
I know. I was just hoping. I thought at first, okay, get in the gap, let him score easy, and then all of a sudden, it's gonna keep going. It was just
no, that ball. He hit it just the right spot. It was. That's a confidence booster. I think he might be jumping out of that slump after that, man. That's if anything can boost your confidence, that'll do it.
That'd be huge. Yeah, need him, and
we need him once he's out for this series at least, right?
I would be shocked if we saw him in the playoffs. I mean, a dislocated elbow takes a while to heal up. I do not see him being a part of this team in the world. Even if they go all the way to the World Series, it's going to be tough. So, and too bad Kershaw's not going to be there too. So they're going to have to be going by with the rotation of Scherzer, Buehler, Julio, which all three of them are Cy Young candidates. So I'll take my chances with those guys.
Yeah, heck yeah.
And let's see what Tony Gonsolin has. So vamos a ver. But you know what? It's like we got the Giants now, and 107 win Giants, 106 win Dodgers.
107 win Dodgers. Yesterday was 107.
Right. Gracias for reminding me. So now they're tied. That's tied.
Right. Anyone can say nothing. So, we have won 107 since the start of the season. The Giants have won 107 since the start of the season. We're even, and nobody can say you won more than us because you haven't.
So we're gonna see. We're gonna see. It's gonna be so on. It's gonna be. I mean, I wish it was 7 games and not 5. I'd love to see the set.
Yeah,
I would love. But hey,
the NBA.
Yeah,
they used to start the first round with 5, and then they busted out to 7. So.
Well, you never know. Next year, there's a new collective bargaining agreement. So next year, they might end up bringing in. They might need more revenue from the playoffs, so they might do that. So you never know. But it's going to be it's going to be awesome. Just going to be awesome. And you know what? What was not awesome was Thursday Night Football, Rams-Seahawks. Just está bien. I mean, what's funny is kind of like I sent out I sent out a tweet earlier. I said I want to give this game the finger, just because
they got 2 busted up fingers.
Oh man, I don't know what was going on with Stafford. I don't know if he had a cut or what.
Stafford messed up his finger. Wilson messed up his finger.
Yeah, the Russell Wilson thing is like, I mean, it looked like it got bent backwards on
Aaron Donald. When someone's disjointed, remember in high school, the disjointed kids would be like, "Look what I can do! Like, look what I can do with my finger." You're like, "Yeah."
You're like,
Russell Wilson was just like,
no,
chilling like that.
No, I mean, there's some good plays. I did, Ricky didn't do the usual usual captain showdown. So I just threw $1 into DraftKings. I thought, you know what, let me do one with Deshaun Jackson in the captain mode. And he ended up having that 68-yard, bomb where all of a sudden it was just like, oh, okay, but he didn't end up closing it out. But once other guys start, Sonny Michel, other guys, I said, okay, I'm not winning any money tonight. So it was fun to do that. But you know what? The Rams got a little bit better tonight. I mean, even with Stafford being off, and hopefully the extra rest is going to get him right, get his finger right. But we had the return of Robert Woods. I mean, that was good.
Unfortunately, like today I played Brian and he's got Woods. Like Woods has done. We're in week 5. Woods has been like silent. Like the first 4 weeks. Cup's been the man. I'm just thinking like, cool, yeah, another game. Cup goes for 2 TDs. Maybe Woods goes for like 6 catches. 70 yards. Whatever. Leave it like that. And no, they just let him loose tonight. Like what? 15 targets. Something stupid. Like come on, man.
Yeah, let's see the numbers. The official numbers, he had 14 targets, 12 receptions, 150 yards, no touchdowns. Big game, though. And Cooper Kupp, 10 targets, 7 receptions, 92 yards. The lone touchdown went to Tyler Higbee. He caught both of his targets for 14 yards. It is interesting though, because in the last game, Van Jefferson and Robert Woods kind of were Steven on targets. Well, this time Woods got 14 targets, Van Jefferson got 4. So,
that was on purpose.
I think so. I mean, part of it was Robert Woods was open, but I think they were trying to get him figured out. I think they were trying to get him get him set up.
Yeah.
So, you got that one. On the other side, you had DK Metcalf, which I had just put out a post on Twitter where tweet where I was saying, fade DK Metcalf because both times that he went up against Jalen Ramsey last year wasn't too good, not too good for me. So
bad call.
I kept saying that Tyler Lockett, hey, gonna own my bad ones, but tough one. The Russell Wilson thing. I mean, he's a tough guy, and he didn't come back in the game, so that one's.
That's bad. I mean, it might be busted. I mean, you might have busted a knuckle. I've done that.
I think it was the tip. I think it was the tip.
There's a knuckle up.
Oh, that's right.
That's right. You got 3 knuckles in your finger. You got the base, and then one in the middle, then one at the very tip is another knuckle. So
I'm gonna giving a quick shout out to Simon, aka Simon. ¿Cómo estamos? How you doing, Simon? Saying hello. Hello. Hopefully you enjoyed the Rams Seahawks tonight. So yeah, but yeah, that's gonna be something to follow. I mean, both quarterbacks in the fingers. I mean, Matthew Stafford ended up having a big game, 365 yards and a touchdown. Completing 25 to 37. So he had a few that sailed on him, and obviously the one where he hit Deshaun Jackson for 68 yards. It was a little bit underthrown. You wonder if maybe he'd hit him in stride if it would have kept going, because I think it would have been about an 80-yard touchdown. But still, that one's tough. But
then again, I think Troy Aikman also made a comment that if he would have hit him in stride, the DB was there.
Yeah. Jamal Adams might have been there.
The DB would have been there, and he might have knocked it away, or it would have been a much more difficult catch. The fact that it was underthrown, that's what I think Aikman made a comment that's probably the only reason that he caught it, was because both DBs were like on full speed. They had to pump the brakes, but Deshaun, seeing it, I guess, first, he went back, he came back to it, and that's like the only reason that he caught it is what they were saying. So if he hit it, I think Aikman said like it's actually a good thing that he underthrew, and that's probably the only reason that he caught it.
Yeah, but so this one's going to be, both quarterbacks are going to be someone that we're going to have to. I mean, we're going to have to keep an eye on both of them. They're just going to be.
Yeah, no, I told you I broke a knuckle before, and it's first of all painful, and you can't do anything. And so, I mean, we just saw what it looked like right when it happened. It's going to blow up like a balloon, probably even now and into tomorrow. That thing's going to be like, like a small golf ball at the end of his finger. And if it is broken, he'll be out for a while because you can't move it. Like when I cracked mine, you just can't move it. It doesn't move, man. Like, and that's his throwing hand. No way. He may be down for a few weeks. That we'll have to wait and see what the X-rays say, but. I hope it's not broken because, if it is, he'll be done for a while.
Yeah, and Simon, Roberto Maderas, aka Robert Woods, seeing him be involved, it's so cool because I was on a show with Maddie Daddy yesterday, the Fantasy Football podcast, and I was telling, he was asking, he's like, is Robert Woods done? I said, I really don't want to think that he's done. I mean, he's still in his prime and he's still got skills. I just want to see him get a little bit of, get some passes thrown his way, maybe get in a rhythm a little bit, get that yak going, get some jet sweeps going. And today, maybe that was the beginning. Hopefully that was the beginning. So I'm hoping, because I really recommended Woods a little bit more, a little bit ahead of Kupp, and it was all because of the involvement in the running game. So we'll see. We almost have it, but you know what? We're gonna, we got something interesting going on with Chisme, which has to do with this game. So let's talk about some Chisme. So Jay Glazer on the pregame show said 1,000,000% expects that Russell Wilson is going to seek a trade next offseason. I'm like, ay Dios mío, are you serious? Are we ready for him to hijack the offseason next year, starting in week 5? Oh, can you imagine? Can you imagine this? Like everything that was happening with Aaron Rodgers last year, it's going to be happening with him.
Yeah, I mean, it's just No, this is all just business. We're all fans, and we're all just like, whoa, is this really going to happen? Like, yeah, it's why not? Aaron Rodgers did it, got away with it. Now he's playing, and there's the new. It's like the new way of doing things. You know what I'm saying? Like the irreverence of the players, and just like and not necessarily not necessarily saying that's a bad thing, because I think we've talked about this before in the past. I think it's been too long that there's a perception that the owners are in charge, where in my mind it's a partnership. You know what I'm saying? Like the owner doesn't, it's always been perceived that way, like through history, like, oh, the owner runs the show, especially in the NFL too, where there's more leverage, where they can just cut you and you're gone. If you're a player, you have leverage, you should use it, and why not? Because you're a business. A player is a business. They're a brand. They're out there to make money and to build their brand. And that's what the owners try to do, is build their brand, which is the franchise. So you have two different, the dichotomy there. They're both trying to do the same thing. Why should one be perceived as having more power than the other? They really shouldn't. So why not give Russell Wilson, go out there, do your thing, Russ, get that money, whatever you have to do it, use your leverage and go get it, whatever.
Can you imagine if let's say you're Pittsburgh and you're moving on from Ben Roethlisberger, which is what we're expecting, and they're able to, like, hey, you know what? We'll give you we'll give you each of our next 3 first-round picks, and just for the chance to go get Russell Wilson. And can you imagine if they could pull that off, get like 8, 9, maybe 10 years out of Russell Wilson with those wide receivers? That would be my dream landing spot. And Najee Harris. Hopefully they fix the offensive line. So that, to me, would be my dream scenario for him, is him landing there. Is there somewhere you'd want to see him land?
Oh man, guys, let me think. Where is available?
Washington. Washington. Are they going to move on? Are they going to move on from
Terry over there? You got
You
got Gibson. You got a decent defense. They've choked up to this point, but they should show up at some point this season. Yeah, that might not be a bad move there. You got Ron Rivera there in charge of things.
Detroit. What if it doesn't work out? What if it doesn't work out in New Orleans?
You're gonna put Russ somewhere. He's gonna want to go somewhere where he's plug and play. He's got some toys to play with, and he's got some. He's going to be protected. I think he's just done. Seattle, he's had a history of just taking a licking back there, and right now he keeps on ticking, but it's not last forever. His O-line just is like they're porous, I guess you could say, at times, and he just gets lit up a couple times a game.
Did you say pobres? Did you say pobres?
Yeah, pobres. they're porous.
Muy pobres. Están muy pobres.
And pobres too, yeah. So, they let the guys come in. Russ is running for his life. I mean, there was a play tonight. I think the first play where he hit DK, he almost got sacked. And he was running for his life, and he hit DK like for 20 yards. It's on a busted play. So, I mean, I think he wants to go somewhere where he can finally have some protection and, do some things.
I just look at him and I'm just like, I hope that I mean, the thing is, all they have to do is draft some offensive linemen in front of him, because he's got 2 great receivers. They will do something with the running game, whether it's, who knows, maybe it's Alex Collins, maybe they find a running back in the 2nd or 3rd round next year. They just need to put a little, put a little bit of protection in front of him, and they're fine. But maybe he doesn't like the offense. Maybe there's something, but they're not going to do it without getting a quarterback back. So we'll see. So let's keep moving. Christian McCaffrey, has a chance to return on Sunday. So all those people who used their used up so much fab on Chuba Hubbard, now all of a sudden they might have only done it for 1 week, and they didn't get a big payoff on that. So, he said he feels better, but I still kind of question whether he's going to play this week. I wonder if it just
What's
makes
the
a little bit of
rush?
sense.
What's
I
the
think
rush? Why you want to rush him back in? He's Christian McCaffrey. Just, especially with soft tissue, man. Just let him heal. Let the doctor say, okay, he's 100% ready. All right, bring him back. There's no reason to rush him. Darnold's playing well. Didn't the Panthers just sign that new shiny defensive back from the Patriots?
Stephon Gilmore. Yep.
Yeah, they signed that. The Panthers already had a good defense. They just picked up Gilmore. Like what?
Yeah.
So they're going to be even better than they already were. So that's going to be big. Yeah, just hang tight, Panthers. You guys are going to be fine.
It's a tough, there could be some points scored this weekend against the Eagles, but I think they'll be fine. Yeah, you're right. And you made the reference to Sam Darnold. He's leading the NFL in touchdowns, touchdown rushes, leading the entire NFL with 5 rushing touchdowns. Gotta love it. Gotta love 4-game sample.
Boom. Hey, does that make Sam Darnold a mobile quarterback?
He's a Konami code. He's on track to be a Konami code.
If you're the quarterback, you're leading the NFL in a rushing touchdown. You must be a mobile quarterback.
Yep. Yeah, because he's on pace for 20 touchdowns.
Boom.
Or 20
right.
over 21 touchdowns.
There you go.
Man. Well, a couple things on the 49er front. Elijah Mitchell got in a limited practice, which he also practiced on a limited basis last week, and then he was declared inactive. And then George Kittle did not practice, with the calf injury. He did not practice on Thursday. So, but again, he did not. He got in a limited practice on Friday and then played. I mean, if you got George Kittle, you're playing him. If he's active, you're playing him. The thing with Elijah Mitchell, this one's a little bit dicey. And, Trey Sermon had a pretty good game last week. The 49ers, I don't know what they're I could see them sitting him down. I used some fab on Elijah Mitchell, but I don't know. It could be a tough one. Could be a tough one.
I think I remember you scooped him up.
I did. I spent like $65 in our Familia 2.0 league, and let's see, that was a lot of money.
That's a lot of fab.
That's a lot of fab. Yeah, and
I wanted to throw something in. I don't know if I don't think you have it on here.
Sure.
Dalvin Cook did not practice today.
Did not practice. I was gonna touch on it a little bit in in our Adentro y Afuera section, but did not practice.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to touch on that in case you just missed it or didn't hear about it. But yeah, Dalvin Cook, he didn't practice.
Did not practice.
He Madison on the ready.
Those of you who ponlo en la mira que estate listo. I think the thing with Dalvin Cook, and one of the things that he came out and said is that he is not going to be 100%. He's not 100% right now. So and won't be that way for a little while. So all of a sudden it's do we see more Alexander Madison? Do we see them rely on the passing game more than the running game? So I don't know. I don't know. That one's going to be. We're going to see on that one. Another running back who's battling an ankle, Joe Mixon, did not practice on Thursday. So he's a guy. It's considered a low ankle sprain, but again, it's something where he sat out 10 games last year with a foot injury. And are we seeing the return of Joe Mixon being, or the Bengals being extra careful with him? So they've really ridden him hard. He's been elite caballo, but.
Yeah, he has.
So that one's on the waiver wire on our Los Pickups article. I did recommend grabbing Samaje Perine, and Chris Evans is also someone to keep an eye on. I think it'll be more of a committee than just elite caballo with Joe Mixon.
Neither of those guys is Joe Mixon. So
I think
they'll just kind of plug and play, just do what they can, but I don't expect Joe Mixon type numbers from either of these guys.
Yeah, and I don't even think that either of them is Giovanni Bernard. So
right, exactly.
Not at all. Last bit of Chisme: Calvin Ridley out for Week 5. Already declared out for Week 5. He did not get on the plane to go to London for the Falcons game against the Jets. So that we got another player to talk about, but again, that's a big loss. That is a guy who
that's really strange. I mean, I the first thing that pops in my mind is, is it something to do with maybe a COVID protocol and traveling overseas?
No, it's personal. No, this is a personal issue. This is not anything to do with illness. So
right.
maybe it's a family member or something like that. So,
but it wouldn't be something like, I don't want to go to London, maybe.
No, it's nothing like that. It's nothing like that. They would have called it a COVID thing if
got it.
No, it's
okay.
This is let's hope this is just a 1 week. I mean, players. Was it a couple weeks ago? Will Fuller missed a game with a personal issue and then came back the following week just so he could break his hand or a finger. So that one's a tough one because
hopefully it's nothing terrible.
Hopefully it's exactly
good vibes going your way, Calvin Ridley. Hopefully it's nothing bad or negative, and maybe it's just something that can clean up in a week and come back out. But again, we don't know what it is, but hopefully it's nothing bad.
Muy cierto. Well, let's get into Adentro y Afuera.
Yeah.
Start with the Adentro. We got the quarterbacks. We got 3 of them. I put 3 of them on the list. We got Kirk Cousins, and we touched on it earlier. Dalvin Cook is not 100%. So do they put the game more in the hands of Cousins? It's a home game, and a couple weeks ago he had a home game. He threw 323 yards against Seattle. Now he's got the Detroit defense, and that Detroit defense has been very, very forgiving. So, I mean, I'm just loving the chances with him at home against Detroit. I think it's just, what do you think, baby?
Yeah, this game is ripe for Kirk Cousins to do some damage here. And even if Dalvin Cook's not 100%, we saw a couple weeks ago, Madison filled in nicely. I mean, Madison is almost like, not quite, but he's almost like, Dalvin Cook 2.0. What did he rush for 175 yards or something like that a couple weeks ago?
That was good. That was real nice.
Madison can do damage too.
That was real nice game. That was a real nice game. So
any doubters out there like, oh well, Madison, he can't do what Cook can do.
And I was one of them. I was one of them. We also got another one. We got Ryan Tannehill. A little bit interesting. I'd love Ricky. I would love for Ricky to be on this one because he hates Tannehill. But I think 2 things are very much set up for him. It looks like AJ Brown is coming back. He's practicing this week, so it looks like he's going to be back. He's had a couple of good games. He threw for 298 yards against the Jets, 347 against the Seahawks. So they're definitely throwing as well as feeding the big guy, Derrick Henry, and Jacksonville. It's Jacksonville on the other side, and they're having their issues with Urban Meyer right now. So
I don't think anyone needs to. I think if everyone out there in football land kind of knows what's going on with that, so we don't need to touch on it. But there's a lot of distractions going on in Jacksonville.
Muchas distractions. But the thing is that pass defense is giving up 320.8 yards per game. So I think this is this game is at Jacksonville, and Tannehill and also Tennessee does not they do not have a good pass defense themselves. So they're going to give up some yards to Trevor Lawrence, Fabio Football. They're going to have to do some throwing. So it's going to I think that game's got sneaky shootout potential.
Definitely shootout potential. Look for Tannehill to eat in this game as well. This should be fun to watch.
What do you think about Derek Carr this weekend? Do you like him? Sure, it's a home game against
Chicago, man. Chicago. I mean, didn't they have like 5 takeaways like 2 weeks ago? Something crazy, and like 2 pick sixes or something ridiculous.
Something like that.
Yeah, Chicago Bears defense. I mean, Derek Carr looked really good. I mean, first half,
until the Chargers.
Yeah, the Charger game first half, not so much. Second half, the comeback kid, right?
Yeah.
And I think he ended up with some pretty decent numbers after that game against the Chargers. But overall, I mean, they're playing at home. The Raiders are in Vegas.
It is a Vegas game, so that's definitely in their favor.
Yeah,
and so
Chargers defense is also tough, and I think, like I said, the second half, he boom boom, he came like he hit him back with like 2 touchdowns, boom boom. So he's running that offense. If he would have had a decent first half, we'd be saying something a little bit different about that game, but it was like night and day. It was really weird. First half is completely shut down. Second half, he looked pretty good. So I don't know which Derek Carr we're going to see. Chicago's defense is known to be tough, but he is playing at home, in that big giant stadium that looks like a big laser printer, I like to say.
I drove by it, man. It looks so cool.
Yeah, it wasn't. I think there were some cool stats. The Raider offense was averaging like the most yards per game. I think it was
passing yards. I think it was at the very least most passing yards.
Right. So I see them doing some good things. I think Derek Carr. I think he learned a few things from that Charger game, and I think he comes back and has a good game. So yeah, I like this call.
To me, I think that the thing is that Charger defense is for real. That secondary is good, and Joey Bosa is getting
any defense that has a guy named Bosa on it. Don't be careful.
They're definitely getting some time, and yeah. So I think last week was more an anomaly than anything. I think Derek Carr's ready. I think Derek Carr's ready to have a big game at home against Chicago.
I think part of it might have been nerves as well. There's a huge pressure. The Raider fans, I think, put a lot of pressure on him. However which way you want to look at it. I think he really wanted that game so bad for the Raider fans. You know what I mean, with the whole LA thing, and I think he may have been putting a little bit too much pressure on himself in that game. What do you think? Do you think that's a crazy take?
I think it could be. A little more. It's Monday night. It's a little bit extra excitement. You got all these
the LA Raider. The LA Raider thing. I think maybe he took ownership of that a little bit. Maybe
I could see that.
Yeah,
I could see that. All right, well, let's get over to the running backs, and we talked about Kirk Cousins. Let's go to the other side. DeAndre Swift. Here are the running backs who have had big games against the Vikings: Joe Mixon, Chris Carson, Nick Chubb, and Kareem Hunt. They're very.
Those guys are on the same team.
Yeah, 2 of those guys are on the same team, and they both had a big game.
And then together they both had good games against one team.
Yeah, so I think the thing I like about this game, I think Swift is going to get his opportunities, and the big thing is, even if the Vikings get off to a bit of a lead, Swift is very much involved in the passing game. He's number 2 in both receptions and targets among running backs in the NFL. Wow. So I think he's going to be involved, whether it's on the ground or in the passing game. I think definitely he's someone who's going to get plenty of play.
Yeah, no, sure. Hey, leading, being second in receptions and targets. I mean, that's clearly showing that Goff's got some confidence in him. So yeah, I agree with you. I think regardless of game script, he's going to be there. He's going to one way or another. So yeah, DeAndre Swift. He'll get some points somehow in this game.
Do you think? Would you take a chance on Michael Carter this weekend? I've got him in our Familia League, our Familia 1.0.
Yeah. I saw you scooped him up. Yeah, he's kind of busted on the scene, right? He was kind of quiet the first couple games, and now all of a sudden, like boom, rushing attempts up 57%. Dang, man, like 57%, of rushing attempts in the game. That's pretty big, man. I mean, that's I think he's going to be a big part of that offense going forward. Atlanta's defense is they're giving up 83 rushing yards a game, 51 passing yards a game to running backs. He'll be involved. And that Jets offense is they're kind of coming out. They had their first win, right?
They had their first win. Zach Wilson looked a little bit better. He's going to, and this is a game that could be set up for Zach Wilson to have a good game, because the fact that Atlanta does not have a good secondary, they're and so they're obviously not doing a good job against the running backs. So it's muchas posibilidades. I think this game, I don't know if I'd call it a shootout, but I think there's going to be some opportunity for Michael Carter.
For sure.
Get some.
Definitely.
So then The next one is going to get me potentially some huevos thrown at me because all off season I kept saying stay away from the Tampa Bay running backs, stay away from the Tampa Bay running backs. But for this week, I hate that I like Leonard Fournette. It's coming off a game where he had 23 touches last week and Ronald Jones only had 6, and you're going up against that Miami defense that is number 30 against running backs in fantasy points per game, and they're giving up 123 rushing yards per game. He had 20 attempts for 91 yards. I think it's can you talk me out of it, Primo? Can you talk me out of it?
I can't. I mean, look, we all know that, Tom Brady is a G. The guy is
he is the G.
Tom Brady, we already know that he just does whatever he needs to do to win a football game. He doesn't care how. He doesn't care about stats. He's already the number one passer in the history of the National Football League. So he doesn't care anymore about those little things like passing yards and crap. He just wants to win the damn game. And when Tom Brady pulls up the stats and says, okay, and sees that Miami is number 30 against the run, giving up 123 yards a game, Tom Brady's already thinking of all the plays where they're going to run. So it's a no-brainer. Again, he's not the flashy guy that wants to, be on the cover of Sports Illustrated or on, on ESPN top 10, throwing passes. He doesn't care. So they're going to run. They're going to run in this game. Fournette's going to be the guy, and he's going to rush for 120, 130 yards this game. He'll probably have 2 touchdowns, and Tom Brady's going to cruise.
I think it could be. I think it's going to be. I'm going to talk about the receivers in a bit, but let's talk about AJ Brown in this one. He's the wide receiver 77. I mean, I know he missed last week, so that's going to drop him down in the overall rankings. But 77 is that's way low. And I'm looking at this one. He's gotten. It doesn't look like Julio's going to play. So, and you've got Jacksonville, who already has 5 receivers going against them, going against Jacksonville, who have gone over 100 yards. They're number 30 in fantasy points per game given up to receivers, averaging 223 yards per game that against them for only to wide receivers. I think this is the game where AJB breaks out.
That definitely could be. He's definitely due. And as we know, as we're seeing in the NFL, quarterbacks kind of go out of their way to keep their guys happy. We saw it. I think it was game 2 or 3. I think it was game 3 with the Packers, where the announcers were starting the game saying like, well, he hasn't Devontae Adams hasn't caught a TD yet, so he'll probably get a couple today. And sure enough, boom, boom, boom. Devontae gets like 2 quick TDs. And then today, Robert Woods is complaining about, for targets. So, I wonder what's going to happen today. Boom, 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 14 targets. So this is the way that it works. You know what I'm saying? You got to, you want to keep your guys happy. AJ Brown is the guy, on the Titans. So if he's wide receiver 77, I'm sure, the text messages from AJ Brown to Tannehill, like, hey man, I'm wide receiver 77. Help me out. Hey, man, I got you.
I should be top 10.
I
should be top 10. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So next one is kind of like a contingency. You got Jamar Chase home again. The Cincinnati Bengals are home against the Green Bay Packers. And to me, this one is contingent on Jair Alexander. Is Jair Alexander going to start and play against Jamar Chase? Jair Alexander is one of the top cornerbacks, but he's got a hurt shoulder. And from what I've seen and what I've heard, Green Bay is very conservative with its players when it comes to injuries and sitting them out. So they might decide that they just want to, err on the side of precaution. They already know it's not surgical, but if he doesn't play, it could be Kevin King on him. And you know what that means? Remember what that means remember the playoffs right before.
Did King do some damage in the playoffs?
Tom Brady was the guy who did some damage to King.
That's right.
Remember right before halftime, that long one, Scotty Miller.
Yes.
Totally just let skid marks on King's back.
Yes.
So
I remember the name. I was like, wait a minute, that guy was involved in some.
Yep. So if it's that, then so that's the one where you keep an eye on him.
Remember this game that the Bengals have had 10 are going to have 10 days rest. They played a Thursday night game last week, so now that they're going to have 10 days to rest up and go to and play against Green Bay. So they're going to be well rested. The defense is going to be well rested. I'm actually looking for their defense to turn around and actually do something in this game, even though it is Green Bay. But they're well rested, man, and they were giving quarterbacks fits, for the first few weeks of the season. So I can see. The Bengals team as a whole surprising some people in this game. So, yeah, but Jamar Chase, he's ready to go. Yeah, and if Jair Alexander's not playing, I think they're going to take advantage for sure.
This could be a fun game to watch because if Joe Burrow, wants to go,
Aaron Rodgers is always fun to watch, but Jamar Chase too, man. Like, he's been doing some things, and it was Burrow, Brady, or Burrow, and who did he play? Who did he play last week? He played Trevor Lawrence last week. So yes. Burrow, Lawrence, now it's Burrow, Aaron Rodgers. It's going to be, any which way you look at it, it's going to be fun to watch.
Battle of the number one picks. Well, speaking of Trevor Lawrence, one of his main targets is going to be getting more targets. Laviska Shenault, going up against Tennessee this week, home against Tennessee. Well, DJ Chark out for the season. Ugh. And then during this week, the OC, the offensive coordinator, Darrell Bevel, came out and says they want to get Shenault more involved. And last week, and Tennessee is number 31 against wide receivers in fantasy points per game. And last week, Corey Davis went for 111 yards on 4 receptions and a touchdown. So
those are next-gen stats, man. Next-gen stats.
Muchas posibilidades right there.
The numbers don't lie. And that's all you got to understand. Is numbers don't lie. So they're salivating. They're looking at this like Tennessee defense is number what against wide receivers? 31, and there's how many teams in the NFL? 32. So yeah, I think this is a great call. Laviska Shenault is going to eat with Chark out. Yeah, look for that.
I definitely think so. Last one, and this is kind of like Ave Maria. Kyle Pitts against
not necessarily.
Jets. So it's a London game, and so and this is talking about. I think this is going to be all based on opportunity. There's no Calvin Ridley. There's no Russell Gage. Gage is missing it because of an injury. This is pure volume because the Jets have actually been good against the tight end. They're number 8 in fantasy points per game, but again, I don't think they've met up with somebody as talented as Pitts.
And athletic, right?
Yeah, and you're talking about with Ridley, you're talking about a guy who's getting 28% target share, and to think that, let's say half of that goes to Kyle Pitts. All of a sudden, that you're talking 30% target share on him, and he got 23 last week. So he's getting.
Who else is there? Ridley's out. Gage is out. Who else is there besides Pitts?
But it's they check your phone. They might be calling you and seeing if you can get on a plane to London.
Man.
So seriously. And the Jets. I still want to see them prove that they can do it against a good tight end, and this is a good tight end that's going to get fed. So I'm hoping, because I've got him as my tight end on a couple of teams. So fingers crossed. So. Well, let's go to the Afuera section of our evening. So these are the guys we're recommending to kind of fade a little bit. Number 1, Baker Mayfield, going at the LA Chargers. And some big news came out about him. He's got a torn labrum in his left shoulder. Ouch. So that's always a little bit concerning. So I don't,
it is a left shoulder, so you don't use it too much as a passer, but still it's an injury. If you have an injured quarterback, and he's going to be, especially when he hears footsteps, he's going to, probably, try to, protect it more a little bit, maybe go down a little bit quicker instead of trying to, outrun the defense. So, yeah, definitely an impact. And like we talked about a second ago, Charger defense is for real. So,
they're so damn good.
Definitely a good fade.
They wrecked Carr. I mean, Carr only got 196 passing yards last week after he'd been averaging 400.
That's
So,
a wrecked car.
Ay, Dios mío. Yes. Pun definitely intended. Muy cierto. Next one, Justin Fields at Las Vegas. You know, he had his debut. You know, he had his first home start last week. He had a decent game, a little more than 200 yards. But I mean, this is a Raider defense that has a good pass rush. And Chicago has not been good at protecting the quarterback this year, whether it's Andy Dalton or Justin Fields. And on top of it, you've got a Raider secondary that just held Keenan Allen and Mike Williams to 47 yards combined. Los dos. So that's good. I mean, that's a good pass defense, and maybe not on the level of the Chargers, but it is a good pass defense. And the rookie QB, I think it's just too many things are coming into play to say fade this guy.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I don't know. It's interesting. I remember watching the game. I don't know if you recall this. Who was it? Was it Romo? Who was announcing this game? There was the Charger Raider game when it was on TV. Who were the announcers?
No, Charger Raider game, that was Monday Night Football. So
yeah.
that would have been that would have been Brian Greasy. Louis Riddick.
Yeah, it was Greasy. It was Greasy. He mentioned a couple of, because remember, one of the Raider DBs went down and was pulled out of the game, and they replaced him with another guy. And Greasy was like, "Why aren't they going to Williams? Why aren't they going to Williams?" The guy guarding him was like 5'8", and Mike Williams is like 6'4", and they're not throwing it. And there was one play when Williams got loose, and he was gone. And Herbert just overthrew him by like 5 yards.
I remember that one.
Otherwise, it was like a 60, 70-yard touchdown.
Muy cierto.
So I do keep that's. I have that in the back of my mind. Just, you know, like, I think what was more disruptive there was the Raider pass rush against what Herbert was trying to do. I think that may have been more of what kept Keenan Allen and Mike Williams at bay, because I mean, I don't know the DB that went out for the Raiders. I don't know if he's going to be back or what kind of injury that was, but the way Greasy was explaining it or describing it was like, man, like, what are they doing? Like, this guy can get lit up like all night. Like, what are you doing? So I mean, I don't know if Greasy can like be a little bit of hype there, but it just I'm interested to see, because Justin Fields, he's not scared of anything, and I'd like to see what he does under this kind of pressure.
Yeah, I think there's going to be growing pains. I think there's going to be some good games. There are going to be some blow up games. I just don't think this is the rest. This game is the recipe just for on the road against the Raiders, against
they already know it is cozy in there. So
I don't think so.
We'll see.
Yeah, I'm sure they'd love to be in the dome in December and not in October.
Right,
it's still kind of crisp. So our last quarterback, it's going to be on the road. He came in, he was only a defense that that other than that and it might be a real defense, might be for real.
I lost you there for a second. We're having some technical difficulties. I missed what you just said. You're like chopping in and out.
Heck, you there?
Oh. Yeah, that was weird. It was like he's like, take two.
Take two, yeah. Let's look at that one. I think I think Trey Lance, I think he's going to start. I think it's going to be a tough one for him. It's going to be a tough game to open on the road against a good defense. It's I don't
9 for 18 passing last week.
Yep. So that's okay. I mean, you got to become for me to really like what you're doing, you got to be 65, 66% and above. So one of those.
Right.
So
Right.
I don't think this is a good one. And I think this could be a game, even though the 49ers have a good defense, they have given up some yards in the past, and that's Kyler Murray. And I just wonder if that's if he builds up a little bit of lead, if Trey Lance, tries to throw it too much.
Right.
Is that
Because they're the last undefeated team, right?
As we'll see. And
So
I don't.
they're not playing. They're not playing this year. And
Not playing.
as good as the Niners defense can be, they've shown some cracks, in that dam,
Exactly.
a couple of times so far up to this point. So I think Kyler's going to give them some fits. Like you say, I could see them getting out to a lead. I think if Lance tries to do too much and play catch up, you might see him throw a couple picks and then it's game over.
Oh man. All right, so let's go over to the run on the running back side. We got Myles Gaskin. I put Myles Gaskin in this one, and to me, it's really comes down to that Tampa Bay defense is allowing only 42 rushing yards a game. It's the lowest mark in the NFL.
Yeah,
it's
automatic fade. Number one. Like we talked about. These stats and numbers don't lie. And if they're allowing the lowest number of rushing yards per game, then yeah, automatically whoever is going to be running in that game is going to have a tough time. So yeah, for sure, Myles Gaskin, that's a fade, easy.
Muy duro, muy difícil. Va a ser muy complicado for that one.
Mm-hmm.
So next one, wide receivers. I think OBJ is going to have a tough one against the Chargers. It's it's third game. All of a sudden, I've looked at it. No wide receiver has gone over 81 yards against the Chargers this year.
Wow.
The Chargers are number 2 in fantasy points per game allowed. You've got Baker Mayfield, who's a little bit injury and compromised. If I have another option, I'm not playing OBJ. I do like what I've seen from him so far. But. He's still a beautiful ball player, but yeah, I don't know if I like this one.
No, agree. Yeah, we already mentioned that Baker is a little bit banged up. OBJ's, and the Charger defense is going to give him fits too. So yeah, I can see him having a tough time. And also based on what the Chargers have already done, the data, what the numbers say, is that he's in struggle. So that's the right call.
And I've got also the entire cast of the Tampa Bay receivers. I think somebody could break loose, but I don't know who's going to do it. And that Miami defense, they're excellent against the pass. They're just really good against the pass. And I don't know if did I put a note? They're 13 against wide receivers, but they're just not giving up. I mean, they're giving up all their yardage on the ground. So, yeah, I don't know. Do you like one of these guys? Do you like any of these? Do you like any of these guys? Any of these receivers this week?
On Tampa Bay?
Yeah.
I mean, I've mentioned it before. It's you have running back by committee on some teams, and at Tampa Bay you have wide receiver by committee. So it's already
committee.
It's already muddied up a little bit. That there's so many receivers there. There's so many mouths to feed. I mean, Gronk is out, so that's one less there.
Yeah.
It's tough to call. I mean, like you said, Miami is a pretty tough pass defense. So, on any given day, it could be any of these guys. Like I said, Tom Brady, he's not in it for the show. He's not in it to, do anything special, and he's not going to care if your receiver is saying, "Hey, man, help me out." Tom Brady's the one guy like, "Nope, sorry, man." However the game's going, that's who's getting the ball, and other than that, I really don't care. So
exactly.
That's what makes it kind of tough. It's just kind of game flow and hard to say.
Exactly. Our last receiver on there, because I'm not putting any tight ends, because if you get a tight end if you're considering a tight end who's got a pulse and is breathing, you're playing him. He's getting full consideration to play. But the last one is Brandon Nyuk at Arizona. The Cardinals have not allowed even one receiver to go past 100 yards against that secondary. And add to it that you've got a rookie quarterback who's likely going to be throwing the ball. I think he's going to be looking for Kittle and for Samuel because both of them are, close to the line of scrimmage, yak guys. Maybe they do that with Nyuk a little bit, but I just everything's been so disjointed with him already to begin with. I just don't know if they're going to give him a full shot. I think they would direct the targets to those first two, Debo and Kittle.
No, I agree. I mean, Debo's been a monster so far this year, right? He's doing his thing over there, and then Kittle down the middle. We already know that. So
Kittle down the middle. Gotta love that.
We already know. That. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I think we agree that Trey Lance is going to struggle a little bit in this game at some point, and that doesn't bode well for any of the receivers. But even when that's third down in the pecking order, even less so.
Yeah, and he's just a guy. Yeah, he's so utterly talented. But yeah, you just don't know if he's going to get. You don't know if he's going to get. Really broken loose. I think they're going to concentrate on Debo and Kittle. So. Before we say adios, just want to do a quick recap of our picks last week. Nico had San Francisco -3 against Seattle. That was a loss. Baltimore 1.5. That was favorite. That was a win. They won that game. Tampa Bay 6.5-point favorites. They won but did not cover. So that was a little close. You had the Chargers 3.5-point favorites. That one covered. So Nico went 500. Okay. So let's go to the Hector side. Should I look past the Miami +2? When they got some plenty of nalgadas.
Yeah, I think so.
We'll leave that one. We will leave that one out. But there was. Where is that one? Falcons at Washington. That was, I know the final score was 34-30. And so, I mean, definitely a closer game. Tyler Heineke had himself a big game. What was I forget what was the final where week 4. It was, ay Dios mío. Oh, the Washington football team got, won that game. So Falcons +2, so they won it by 4, so they did not cover. Green Bay, I believe they covered. They were 6.5-point favorites. And I'm looking for them here. Where is Green Bay? The Pack go 27-17. So they covered that game. So that's a good one. Okay, on mine, Seattle +3, they covered. Arizona +4.5, they covered. Cincinnati -7.5. Where's that one? I forget what that one did.
That was a Thursday night game.
Yeah, that was Thursday night. 7.5. They did not cover. They won by 3. And then New Orleans Saints -7.5, but we know that they lost that game in overtime. So, ay Dios mío, pissed me off. So
50%.
50%. So, Primo, eso es todo for our show. Special thanks to Anchor for being our hosting network and putting us on Apple, Google, Spotify. Please make sure you're liking us, subscribing. Please give us a review. Say we're doing a great job. Also, keep an eye on our YouTube page. Please make sure you subscribe. Give us a like, por favor. We got a couple of comments today in the chat, so that was awesome. Thank you, Simon, for joining us. Also, please make sure you find original content at familiaffb.com, where we have articles that are all kind of working along with these podcast episodes. Make sure you're following us on Twitter and Instagram. Heck, where are they following you?
At what the heck? 2 T's.
You can find me at Jorge Martin 17 on Twitter and Instagram, and we're beefing up our Instagram a little bit more. Make sure you're going to Familia FFB on Twitter and on Instagram, and just make sure you're giving us, hopefully, give us some love. And because remember, when it comes to love, it's love and familia go hand in hand. So always remember, todos somos familia.
Adios, amigos. Salud.